This is the year that I will be turning 40. And in turning 40, I've had to reflect. What were some of the worst decisions that I've made in my 20s and 30s? So if you're in your 20s and 30s, this video is for you. The first mistake that you can make is staying in the wrong relationships way too long. I've seen these in marriages that have fallen apart. I've seen these in friendships. I've seen these in colleague relationships and even relationships with your neighbors that you live nearby. If there is a toxic relationship happening, and this is something that is bringing you down physically, mentally, in any shape or form, just let it go. And it's okay not to please every single person in your life, because not everyone will be happy with your decisions or your outlook and perspective on life. So that's something that I wish I can go back and tell my former self. Don't worry about disconnecting relationships if they are causing you drama or mental drain. The second thing to avoid is getting into way too much debt. This can be consumer debt, car debt. Years ago, I purchased my first car, and that was a Toyota Prius. I loved the Prius. I eventually wanted to go all battery, and this is how I'm in my Tesla right now. But prior to this car, I did have a Toyota Prius. And instead of saving up $19,000, I wanted a new car that was reliable and that could take me back and forth to work. And I worked about an hour away, so I felt like I needed a brand new car. If I could talk to my former self, I would have said, Lois, you don't need a brand new car. You just need a reliable car. Maybe a used one with 20, 30, less than 50,000 miles on it, and with no car accidents, that drives smoothly. Preferably a Toyota or a Honda. That's something that I had to learn, was I didn't need the biggest, greatest thing. I just needed something reliable. I took out a $19,000 loan on my Toyota Prius, and I was tied to that loan for 5 years. There are a lot of other things I could have done with those payments instead of putting it toward a car, but what's done is done. I can't go back and change that decision. What I can do is change my decisions moving forward, learning from that experience. The third mistake that you can make in your 20s and even 30s is waiting for your life to start. What I mean by this is you're just waiting for a job to fall on your lap, or you're waiting for a relationship to fall on your lap. You're just sitting there waiting for something to fall on your lap so that you can start your life. I'm going to tell you this, nothing falls on your lap. You need to pursue the thing. You need to actively put in effort. If you want to be a veterinarian, you need to focus and put in the effort and the years of studies to become a veterinarian. Don't waste away your 20s thinking that your life will somehow magically start. You need to start your own life. This is your special journey, your special story that God has given you to write. So write it. When I was younger, it felt like everyone wanted to learn how to drive and live on their own and pay their own rent and mortgage. It felt like everyone wanted to do everything for themselves, to move on. But many times it seems like people are just stuck in their 20s, just living, just breathing, hoping that something will fall in their laps. Don't be lazy. Pursue an education, and if you don't know what kind of education you want, figure out what types of careers are out there. There are so many different careers out there, and within those careers, different ladders and different pathways to go higher. So think about those things. If you want to create a business, then create a business and run with it. Figure out how to create flyers. Figure out how to talk to customers, talk to people. These are such important skills, so don't be lazy and educate yourself, whether it's reading a book or doing some research or understanding what career paths there are, just learn, do something. So when you're in your 20s and even early 30s, those are your optimum educational years. Educate yourself, figure out what you want to do, and do the best you possibly can to get there. The fourth mistake that you can make in your 20s especially is not investing sooner. As a school teacher for 12 years, a certain portion of my salary went into my teacher pension, which is still sitting around somewhere. And my husband was able to invest in his company matched 401k in his 20s. And so those have grown. His 401k and my teacher pension have steadily increased. Looking back, I wish 10, 15 years ago that we would have put more money into our retirement accounts so that we'd have more right now. But what's done is done, and we'll be putting more money into our investment accounts every single month because I know the future Lois, 15 to 20 years from now, will look back and say, I'm so glad I put that extra money away. The fifth mistake that you can make in your 20s and 30s is not understanding the value of human relationships. Not understanding that one day you're going to need somebody. And also burning bridges carelessly. Because once you burn a bridge, you can't really go back. That relationship has severed, or rather separated. It's very hard to go back after, especially after a traumatizing conversation or finger pointing. If this person is not your relative and you have many years of background with this person, people are just coming through your life here and there and learning about who you are. So when you're burning those bridges, you're burning relationships with so many people. And they go and tell other people about how you burn those relationships. So it's a widespread trauma that you're creating for yourself. Human relationships are more important than things. I would much rather have a great relationship with my parents and sister, my family members, than a car or a stroller. These are things that are in my life right now, so that's why I'm bringing those up. In my 20s and 30s, it would have been a new phone or a new camera. I loved electronics back in the day, or iPods. Things will come and go, but people will remain. People will be there until either you die or they die. Your relationship with people is very important. The sixth mistake, everyone makes this in your 20s and 30s, is putting trash in your body. God tells us that this is our temple, and we need to treat our temple with respect. At a young age, you don't think, I'm going to have high blood pressure. I'm going to have diabetes. You don't think about that in your 20s because you're in great shape. You're in your youth. And so with that, many people think that you're invincible, that you can survive through everything. And everywhere I look, people are putting trash in their bodies. They're doing drugs, alcohol, and they're not understanding. You get one body, one chance, and also your teeth. You get one set of adult teeth. You don't keep growing new teeth. I wish I did, but that's not something that happens. If I could tell my former self in my early 20s and even teen years, I would say quit eating that sugar, quit eating the junk food, and eat healthy. My parents used to tell me all the time, you need to eat healthy, but I always ignored them. I thought, well, this high sugar food is so delicious. Why would I not want to participate in something so delicious? And looking back, I realized, well, because your teeth are going to rot, because your health will rot. And when you don't have your health, you can't do anything. The seventh worst thing you can do is not forgive people. I don't care how bad a person has been to you or what kind of experiences you've had with people, unless you are able to forgive somebody of what they've done wrong to you. It is so hard to do, but at the same time, it is so necessary. for you to move on with your life. There were so many times where I've had massive headaches, high blood pressure, just couldn't figure out my life or make simple decisions because I was unable to forgive a person. Don't ruin your health, your mental, your spiritual, your physical well-being because someone did something bad to you or someone did something unforgivable in your eyes. Recently, I've been watching Elizabeth Smart videos on YouTube, and I am just so compelled by her ability to forgive her captor. Somebody who sexually abused her, she's able to forgive. I mean, it's just mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling what people have endured and were able to forgive and move on with their lives. But if that's any indication to you in your 20s and 30s that life moves on, and unless you forgive and you just move on with your life, that thing that has been bothering you, that thing, that thorn on your side, will forever be a thorn on your side until you die. Just remember that. The eighth worst decision that you can make is forming bad habits. You know, if you're making toxic relationships with people and you continue on with that, it will follow you for decades and decades. If you eat healthy early on, that will follow you for decades and decades as well. If you're doing drugs, that will keep following you. Alcohol. If you're walking every single day, that becomes a routine and you will consistently do that. Whether it's a good habit or a bad habit, those habits will follow you for many decades to come. The ninth worst decision that you can make in your 20s and 30s is not meeting a variety of different people. Now, I grew up in a Christian home and I went to a Christian high school. I lived in a bubble, so to speak. When I went to New York University, I think my brain exploded because I didn't know there were so many different types of people in the world. But that helped me to understand certain people and certain behaviors. That was priceless. If you can, in your 20s and 30s, go out and meet as many different kinds of people and interact with them. Go and meet your teachers. Look at them in the eyes and talk to them. Have a conversation with them. Go and look at your principal. Talk to them. Go talk to the gardener. Go talk to people who serve you at restaurants. Talk to as many different people as you possibly can, because everybody has very unique perspectives and very unique situations that you can learn from. So meet as many people as you can, and you'll find that you've lived so many lives through those people. Not only that, when you someday have children and they're at the age where they can talk back to you, you can tell them, hey, if you take this path, then this is what your life will look like. If you make this decision, then don't be surprised if that happens. These are learning situations that you can pass down to your kids and even your future grandkids. I know you don't like to think about that in your 20s, but these are inevitable things, seasons that happen in your life, chapters that come and go. The last and final worst decision you can make in your 20s and 30s is over-identifying with one path. I chose the career public school teacher, and that identity became so much of who I was that I put that above my relationships. So sitting down and prioritizing what really is important to me is something that I wish I could go back in my 20s and tell younger Lois. Lois, don't worry about your job so much. Don't put in 1,000% into your job. Balance your life. Appreciate the relationships that you've worked so hard to build. Enjoy those things. Life is hard as it is, and so focusing on one aspect of your life too much and too hard will sacrifice some of the other things in your life that are important. Over-identifying with one career pathway or one form of identity can really sever your relationships with people who matter in your life. When the bell rings and your contract ends, spend time with your family. Go home. Take a break. It's okay to take breaks. In fact, it's absolutely necessary. Build relationships with people. Invest in people because people matter.